Getting set up for Coffee with Jim, live from the studios here at Jim Hinckley's America. Sunday 17th. I have a great little program today about enhancing a Route 66 adventure with side trips. Little things you can do to enhance your adventures on legendary Route 66. A little bit of music here from Joe and Woody and the boys of the road crew. If you need a theme song for your adventure, take a listen at roadcrew66.com. As you know, folks, we have good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this great interactive program. Hey, we have another clue for you on our Route 66 contest. And we've got some great road trip inspiration this morning. So I'm always so glad you could join us. How is everybody doing this beautiful, beautiful day? Hey, let's get right to our contest. Let's start with that. What we are looking for is the name of the business and its location on Route 66. And the clues we gave were that it is east of California and west of Texas. Today, our clue is the letter I. So far, we have an N, a G, an E, an A, an I, a D, and an O, and an R. If anybody has any suggestions, please feel free to chime in at any point. Well, today we are going to be talking about Route 66 detours, little side trips that will enhance your adventures on Route 66. Little detours, nothing serious. Like an example would be Hualapai Mountain Park near Kingman, Arizona. It's only about 15 miles south of Route 66. It's a pine-forested oasis in a sea of desert. Wonderful, wonderful Hualapai Mountain Lodge, miles of hiking trails, great food. Just a great little getaway. That's the kind of thing we're going to be talking about today. And if you have suggestions, ideas, little side trips that you'd like to share, God bless, please do. Chime in at any point. Good morning, Mr. Hernandez. How are you doing today? Keith? Here's another one for you. Probably one of the ultimate. Now, this is a bit of a stretch because this is, it requires more than a picnic lunch and a short day trip. But Supai, this amazing place is only accessed on Route 66. It's between Grand Canyon Caverns and Peach Springs, Arizona. And you head north on Indian Highway 19, drive about 60 miles, no services, beautiful scenic drive. And the road comes to an end at the edge of a beautiful, deep canyon. The village of Supai is about 12 miles away. You take the helicopter, you rent a horse, or you start walking. Now, the tribe will require permits to go further, but about 4 miles past the village, absolutely stunning, picturesque waterfalls rolling off red rock canyon walls into deep turquoise blue pools. Now, that's a side trip you won't want to forget. And as a little bit of a trivia point, the village of Supai is still one of the most remote communities in America. The mail is still delivered by mule train. Pretty astounding. Another one, now, of course, I try to travel. I learned a long time ago. I'm kind of a back roads person. And as a kid, I always had station wagons or pickup trucks. But the station wagons just never did the trick for me, because I would find some dirt road and wander off in the tulies. Before I knew it, I had no muffler on the car. So I leaned towards trucks, and of course now I drive a 98 Jeep. And it enhances my side trips, if you will. Good morning, Keith. Here's a little trip for you. You do not need a four-wheel drive, but you do need to make sure you have a touch of ground clearance. When you're in Seligman, Arizona, the last exit on I-40, when you're coming out on Route 66 to I-40, there's a little truck stop right at the edge of town, the east end of town. Now, if you follow along by that truck stop, the little frontage road, for a quarter of a mile, all of a sudden the road will turn south. You'll see it signed as Williamson Valley Road. Highly, highly recommend this drive. It'll take you into Prescott, Arizona. It's a very historic road. Parts of it are the National Old Trails Road. Parts of it are the old Mojave Prescott Road from the 1870s. Lots and lots of surprises on this road, aside from beautiful scenery. For example, there's a small steel truss bridge over a creek there, and the bridge was actually built down around San Carlos, and the road washed out sometime around 1920ish, and the state salvaged the bridge components and installed part of them here on the Williamson Valley Road. You know, that's one of the great little side trip detours that we're talking about this morning. If anybody would like to call in, we are set up for call-ins, or you can type in a question and we will answer it here for you. And I'd like to announce that we are recording this program. We're trying something new. Since we're still locked out of our Facebook account, we're recording the program, and we will archive the video version on our YouTube channel later today. And of course, the program, the audio podcast, is always added to the archives here on Podbean, our page at Podbean. We are due to a really tight schedule, and we've had to kind of cut things a bit. Wake Up with Jim, our short audio podcast, is now Wednesday morning, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. Coffee with Jim continues at Sunday mornings, 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. There's so many little side trips and detours that you can enhance the Route 66 adventure, the Route 66 experience. And a little bit of shameless self-promotion here, but I have a new book coming out this summer, probably July or August, and it's Back Roads of Route 66, and it's exactly what we're talking about this morning. Great little detours, great little side trips that will enhance your Route 66 adventure. I checked this morning, and it looks like it's closed. I'm really sorry to say this. The Cave Restaurant near Richland, Missouri. But the drive itself is still worthwhile. You would access this east of Lebanon, Missouri. The Cave Restaurant, there's no need to talk about too much since it is closed. But that was a one-of-a-kind experience. I've mentioned on a program this past week, we talked about Merrimack Springs Park, just south of Cuba, Missouri, and Steelville, which is on the road to Merrimack Springs Park. And you would have Rich's Famous Burgers there, in business since 1955. Some other great side trips. I'll get to my notes here. I've got a few people that have sent us some suggestions and ideas. Cahokia Mountains. Cahokia Mountains in Illinois is actually kind of on Route 66 near Collinsville. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's a remnant of what was once a vast city, loosely known as the Mound Builders. The culture that built this was a huge city. At one time, St. Louis was known as Mound City. Most of those have been leveled as they built the city, but that gives you a glimpse at the scope of what Cahokia was at one time. Quite a place to see. And if you're in the neighborhood of Cahokia, I would suggest you continue south down towards Maystown, Illinois. Maystown, Illinois is extraordinary. It's a small town, few hundred people, established in the 1850s. And you enter the town over a stone bridge built in the 1850s. Most of the entire town is intact from the 1850s to 1890s period. It was all built of stone and brick. Even the gutters are hand-laid stone. Fascinating, fascinating little village there. We mentioned we were going to talk about some of the places that people had asked about. Debbie had asked me about Johnson Canyon. She had read on our website, JimHinckley'sAmerica.com, a story about the Johnson Canyon Railroad Tunnel. You know, that's an excellent short detour off Route 66. You would access this east of Ash Fork from Welsh Road. You would go north on Welsh Road. You cross an alignment of Route 66, and then you'll hit another alignment of Route 66, which is also the National Old Trails Road. And when you hit the second alignment, you drive east about 2 miles to the first Forest Service road. You don't need a 4x4, but you do need ground clearance if you don't want to walk. Because there is a sand wash that you have to cross on that Forest Service road. You drive about 5 miles and you'll come to a big concrete slab. That is the ruins of Welsh Station. And from there, you just simply follow the rail bed about 4 miles, and you'll come to the beautiful 1880s stone-faced Johnson Canyon Railroad Tunnel. Quite a history with that tunnel, and you can read about that in an article I published as a blog on JimHinckley'sAmerica.com, our website. Ellen from Needles suggested Mitchell Caverns, out in the desert west of Needles off Essex Road. Highly recommend it. They've got limited hours because of the COVID situation. I don't think they're back to normal. But you can look this up online. Check for state parks, California, Mitchell Caverns. Really interesting history and a great escape from the desert heat. That is another one I can suggest. And Joyce has one for us. She's, well, that is kind of a challenge. I would say Acoma, east of Grants. Look for the Acoma exit. It's about a 12 to 14 mile drive. Joyce was asking about great Native American sites. The tribe does charge, and they do respect. This is not a zoo, it's people's homes, so please be respectful. But Acoma is possibly the oldest continuously inhabited community in the United States. There is evidence that people have been living there pretty much nonstop since around 1200 AD. Another wonderful Native American site that I can recommend is on the pre-1937 alignment of Route 66 east of Santa Fe, New Mexico, near Pecos, is the Pecos National Historic Park. Aside from just beautiful scenery and association with the Santa Fe Trail, you'll find the picturesque ruins of the village of Pecos and the old Spanish chapel built there in the late 1500s, overlooking the Pecos River. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived there in the 1500s, they wrote that it was the largest city they had encountered north of Mexico. Some really beautiful and relatively easy walking trails take you through various aspects of the ruins. That's another great Native American site. The museum is first rate. Excuse me. Let's see what else I've got here. And Sheila. Well, Sheila, there's Texas Panhandle is tough. Oh, okay. How about this one for you? Just south of Amarillo, look for Palo Duro Canyon State Park. Palo Duro Canyon State Park is really a surprise. You're driving along the flat, basically flat Texas Panhandle, and you drive a little bit south, and it's called the Grand Canyon of the Panhandle. It is kind of a blending of the Grand Canyon and Sedona. Very, very beautiful area. They do have camping. There's motels in Canyon, Texas, a little community nearby. And what do we have here? Okay. My trips. Well, thank you. I will probably be, my next big, we'll be resuming our fall Route 66 tours this year. I am to speak at the Miles of Possibility Conference in Pontiac, Illinois this October, and I am working on setting up some speaking engagements and sponsors. But you can find my entire schedule and the program schedule on JimHinckley'sAmerica.com, since we are still having issues with Facebook. Upcoming speaking engagements, presentations. I have a walking tour downtown Kingman with Mojave Community College on Friday, May 6th. The 24th, I'll be doing a presentation at Mojave Community College here in Kingman, Arizona. The Beale Street campus will be talking about the history and evolution of the Great American Road Trip. Should be a lot of fun. And that takes us up to the 27th of May. There'll be a big block party downtown Kingman for National Road Trip Day. We'll be introducing the narrated historic district walking tour that's been developed by Kingman Main Street. And then Saturday morning, we'll be getting together for breakfast at Flying J Truck Stop, and then having a Route 66 cruise to Seligman, Arizona, with stops at Antares Point, Hackberry General Store, Grand Canyon Caverns. What better way to celebrate National Road Trip Day than with a cruise on Route 66, the most famous highway in America? Let's see what else we have. And that's Sunday, 27th, 8th, the 29th. I do not have all of the details yet, but I will be speaking in Oatman, Arizona on evolution of transportation in western Arizona. I think you're going to find this one pretty interesting if you're in the neighborhood. There's over 1,000 years of transportation history in this part of the country. And afterwards, I'll be signing books there in Oatman, Jackass Junction. Like I say, the entire schedule will be on the Jim Hinckley's America website, JimHinckley'sAmerica.com. Well, let's see here. We we have more questions being sent to us. You can also text your questions to us or type them in here. And we do have this set for call-ins. But, let's see. Nick, trying to think, what would be a great Kansas? From Baxter Springs, he was asking about little side trips there in Kansas. Kansas only has 13 miles of Route 66. I highly recommend the museum in Baxter Springs, Kansas. You can get information for a self-guided tour to sites associated with the battle there at Baxter Springs and the Baxter Springs Massacre from the American Civil War, Quantrill's Raiders. Great little tour. But if you continue west, 40-45 miles out to Coffeyville, beautiful drive, and of course the claim to fame in Coffeyville is the legendary shootout with the Dalton gang back in the late 19th century. And they've tapped into that pretty well, but they make it a good experience without being too touristy. We have not had a winner yet with our contest, which I am very surprised. So we will continue this on Wednesday on Wake Up with Jim. Our program at that time will be on Gallup, New Mexico. And I think you're going to find this one interesting. Gallup is, well, it's an interesting town to say the very least. You get some great things there like the El Rancho Motel, but we'll talk more about that. And speaking of Gallup, here's a little side trip for you that really highly recommended. It's a little loop drive. Route 66 in New Mexico, western New Mexico, is kind of broken up and truncated, so you won't miss a lot of Route 66. But from Gallup, drive south to El Moro, go through Zuni Pueblos, through Navajo, Ramada Navajo Reservation, and over to El Moro, and then continue on to Grants, New Mexico, past the Bandera Crater, the El Malapai National National Park, and the ice caves. Really, it's kind of a fire and ice drive, if you will. El Moro is quite a sight. It's a big sandstone monolith in the forest. And there's a hiking trail, pretty steep, but not overly difficult. Goes up to the very summit. And there's the ruins of a village there, thousands of years old. The real claim to fame is at the base, there's a spring, an all-year-round spring. And there's a kind of an overhang. And for centuries, travelers have carved their names in the rocks there. And you can see the names of Spanish explorers, petroglyphs. Lieutenant Beale left his mark there. Centuries and centuries of names carved in the rocks. That is another great drive that I can highly recommend. Well, our coffee cup mug sponsor of the day is the Route 66 Museum in Clinton, Oklahoma. One of the best Route 66 museums you're going to find. Narrations by legendary author Michael Wallace, who was also the voice of the sheriff in the animated film The Cars. And, of course, today's program is sponsored in part through the magic of crowdfunding on the Patreon platform. I want to thank supporters of our crowdfunding initiative. They make a lot of our educational programs possible. And, of course, the iconic, legendary Wagon Wheel Motel in Cuba, Missouri. The oldest continuously operated motel on Route 66. A great blending of the past, the present, and even the future. And of course, Miss Connie Eccles and her team. What a just wonderful people. They just exemplify the spirit and the essence of the Route 66 experience. Well, we're running out of time this morning, and don't want to beat my gums too long. Do we have any other questions I can answer for you, or any other input, suggestions, ideas, thoughts about Route 66 or road trips? Now's the time to speak up. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the program this morning, and well, thank you. Don't forget our contest. We started this on March 25th. You can find all the clues on our archived programs. And the first correct answer of the business, name of the business, and in what community it is located, well, you'll get a copy of my new book. Here we are on Route 66, and it'll be defaced with a signature. Well, let's wrap this up with a little bit of road trip inspiring music here from Joe, Woody, and my friends with the road crew. Don't forget, we'll be doing this again next week, 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Invite your friends to see if we can make it a coffee party. The more interactive, the better. After all, the best adventures are shared adventures. My friends, thank you for joining us this morning. We'll see you soon. Bye, Dios.